In the grand and tumultuous narrative of J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, one finds oneself inevitably drawn to the character of Frodo Baggins, the unassuming hobbit thrust into a saga of world-altering consequence. Imagine, if you will, the peculiar scenario where I, rather than this simple hobbit, was the bearer of the One Ring. The role would not just be a mere transfer of duty from a fictional character to a real person. It would be an exercise in demonstrating the absurdity of power and the fickle nature of human resolve. The ring, a symbol of absolute power and corruption, would in my hands become an object of darkly comedic play. Picture this. Amidst the treacherous journey through Middle-earth, with the eyes of Sauron ever searching and the weight of the world on my shoulders, I would engage in an ongoing farce of losing this accursed ring. In Rivendell, perhaps during a council of the wise and powerful, the ring would accidentally slip from my pocket, rolling comically under Elrond's chair. Picture the faces of the assembled, a mixture of shock, dismay, and incredulity as they scramble to retrieve it. The absurdity of such a moment would serve to puncture the pomposity of the entire affair. In Lothlorien, under the watchful eyes of the Lady Galadriel, I might misplace the ring, leading to a frenetic search through the ethereal woods. Imagine the Lady of Light, with all her grace and wisdom, sifting through leaves and branches while I stand by, feigning innocence and concern. It would be a scene dripping with irony as the mighty are brought low by the trivialities of a lost trinket. This repeated act of feigning loss would not be a mere jest, but a commentary on the ludicrousness of power, its ability to make the wise act foolishly, the strong weak, and the noble petty. Each loss of the ring would reveal the cracks in the facades of those around me, their desperation and fear laid bare. It would be a mirror to their souls, reflecting their hidden desires and weaknesses. And then there are the orcs. Imagine the unbridled chaos of an orc horde descending upon Fangorn Forest, axes in hand, only to find their prize, the ring, supposedly lost among the ancient trees. The ensuing carnage, while tragic, would carry a certain dark humor. The once mighty Treebeard, a symbol of nature's endurance, reduced to timber by the sheer absurdity of the situation. In this twisted narrative, my portrayal of Frodo would not be one of heroism or nobility, but one of a trickster reveling in the madness that power brings. It would be a journey marked not by bravery, but by a series of comedic yet somber reflections on the nature of desire and the folly of ambition. And finally, upon the precipice of Mount Doom, the climax of this farcical odyssey, I would stand, ring in hand. But instead of casting it into the fiery chasm, I would slip it onto my finger and vanish, leaving Middle-earth to its fate. This final act, a culmination of all the previous jests, would be the ultimate expression of disregard for the grand narrative. It would not be an act of evil, but a final defiant statement on the absurdity of the quest, the futility of resistance against the tide of destiny, and the ultimate joke played on a world that takes itself far too seriously. There would come a moment, perhaps just before the final act at Mount Doom, where I, in the guise of Frodo, would find myself overwhelmed by an irrepressible desire to indulge in the simple pleasure of smoking pipeweed. This desire would not be fulfilled in a quaint hobbit hole or in the serene gardens of Rivendell, but rather in front of a roaring fireplace, the flames fueled by the asunder logs of Treebeard himself. The once mighty Ent, now reduced to mere kindling, would crackle and pop in the fire, a grim reminder of the consequences of the whimsical and capricious journey I had led. As I puff on the pipe, the smoke swirling around in the dimly lit room, there would be a moment of perverse tranquility, a stark contrast to the chaos and impending doom outside. In this retelling, the fate of Middle-earth would hang not on the courage of a hobbit, but on the whims of a man amused by the theatricality and grandeur of an epic saga, turning it into a farce of cosmic proportions. The ring, a symbol of overwhelming power, would become an instrument of satire, wielded not to dominate, but to mock the very idea of domination. The fate of Middle-earth in this bizarre rendition would be nothing more than a punchline in a dark comedy played out on a cosmic stage.